The Remedy Compare facility within ISIS Vision can be incredibly useful at times, so let me show you how to get the most out of this facility. To start comparing remedies, click on the icon on the toolbar like so, and you will immediately see the Remedy Compare screen displayed. Now, this is quite a busy screen, it looks quite complicated, so let me talk you through the main areas. First of all, in the top left hand corner, this is where you specify the repertory that you want to use for your remedy extraction or comparison. In this tutorial, I'll stay with the combined repertory just to start with, as all of you will have that with your ISIS system. Having selected the repertory, you can then either choose to search all chapters, just the Mind chapter, or selected chapters. For my first search, I'll just search the Mind chapter of the combined repertory. The top right quarter of this screen is where you specify which families of remedies, or kingdoms of remedies, or which individual remedies you wish to use for your remedy extraction or comparison. Now, what I'm going to do is to search for the remedies Natrum muriaticum and Veratrum. So I'll click the mouse in the white box here and just type the abbreviation for the first remedy, which is Natrum muriaticum. And I need to move this remedy into the selected column here, which I do by double clicking the remedy. Now I want to search for the second remedy, which is Veratrum, so I'll remove the first remedy abbreviation and just type a few letters to identify Veratrum and double click it here. So now I've told ISIS that I want to look in the combined repertory Mind chapter comparing Natrum mur and Veratrum. The middle section here is where you tell ISIS Vision the kinds of rubrics that you want to use for your comparison. Now let's pretend that I want to see the differences between Natrum mur and Veratrum. So now I would click the differential indicator, and I'll leave all the rest of these settings here as the defaults for now. I'll click the compare button to show you the results of an extraction like so. Now we have our two remedies listed here, and all the rubrics that will help us differentiate between these two remedies from the Mind chapter. So scanning down the list, you can see that Natrum mur has abstraction in grade 2, whereas Veratrum is abusive insulting in grade 2. In fact, looking down the list, you can see Natrum mur is an abusive child insulting the parents, whereas Veratrum is the abusive husband insulting wife before children. Veratrum is restless and active mentally, is adulterous, has affectation, whereas Natrum has many ailments from anger, from bad news, from disappointment and so on. And in this way you can build quite an interesting picture of the differences between these two remedies. Now let's go back. I click the little white X here, go back to the previous screen, and let's clear those two remedies out of the list by clicking the clear button, and I'll choose another couple of remedies. Let's say I'm going to choose sepia, and I'm going to compare that with calcarea, calcarb. But this time I want to see the similarities between these two remedies. So I'll click the compare button again, and instantly ISIS will bring up the similarities between the two mental pictures of these two remedies, calcarea and sepia. And there'll be quite a big list here. You can see there are actually 281 rubrics. Now, just to show you how this can work some more, if I go back and say this time I want ISIS to only show me the most important rubrics, the key grade 3 bold type rubrics that are the same between calcarea and sepia. I'll show you the results like so. Now we get a much smaller list, and you can read for yourself the grade 3 bold type, that is, similarities between these two remedies. One nice little facility built into ISIS Vision is shown here. If I click the file menu, I can actually repertorize using the rubrics on the screen here in a standard repertorization chart, like so. Why do I want to do this? Well, occasionally it's good to see which remedies are very close to the remedies you're looking at. So because we were looking at calc and sepia, but we've asked to repertorize using exactly the same rubrics, we can actually see that natrum carbonicum is the next closest remedy to calc and sepia with those rubrics, followed by natrum mure and phosphorus. Now occasionally that's very useful and may give you some interesting remedy ideas. But I'll close that down for now and we'll return back to the main screen. Now let me show you how to perform a more advanced extraction and comparison. And let's say I want to research the sea creatures group of remedies. First of all, you would choose the families option here and then type a letter like S to jump down and find the sea creatures. Now, before we carry on, I need to remove calcarea and sepia from the previous search, so I click the clear button again and I double click the sea creatures to tell ISIS that's the family I want to work with. When I double click the sea creatures, ISIS preloads all of the sea creature remedies in the list of selected remedies. What I want to do now is change the repertory away from the combined, and I'll make it use the complete repertory 2005 edition, as this has many additions and entries for the more newly proven remedies. Now I must remember also to put the grade 2 and 1s back in for this case, for this example I should say, and the trick now is to tell ISIS to look for at least, let's say, 10 remedies. So we're telling ISIS to find at least 10 sea creature remedies in the complete repertory, all chapters, and the key here is to allow it to sort the rubrics by the number of matches. That means those rubrics that have the most sea creatures will be displayed at the top of the list, and so on down to the bottom. And if I show you the results now by clicking the compare button, ISIS will go through the whole of the complete repertory 2005 edition, every chapter, every rubric, and find the rubrics that have the most sea creatures in them. Like so. You can see lots of pain generalities, mind rubrics, and so on and so forth. And in this way, by scrolling down and down the list, you start to see those common themes of the sea creature remedies: itching skin, sore bruised pains, lots of anxiety and nausea, and so on. And you can build quite good pictures of any different family in this way. This means you have the power to learn the themes of families for yourself. You're not relying on some famous homeopath or teacher always to give you the information. You can find it for yourself. Finally, just to conclude this tutorial, let me explain a couple of other facilities on the remedy comparison screen. I'll just click the white X here, just to explain what these facilities mean here. If you type a keyword, for example anger, what that means is that ISIS is only going to use rubrics with the word anger somewhere within them. In this way you can actually keep the number of rubrics that ISIS finds down to a minimum. The filters here allows you to specify with the slider bar the number of remedies that must be in the rubrics that ISIS wishes to use. By having the slider bar down here to all remedies, you're including everything, but for example by moving the slider you can see the number displayed here. You can put a limit on the size of rubrics that you wish ISIS to use. So if you don't want ISIS to use those huge rubrics, you can set the slider appropriately, or use one of these shortcut buttons here for medium-sized rubrics, small rubrics, or just those rubrics that have one remedy in them. So I'll just click the compare button to look for those instances of veratrum, like so. and after a few seconds ISIS will show you all of the rubrics that only have veratrum in them. That's an incredibly nice facility, especially if you want to research the smaller remedies to see where they occur throughout the repertories. That concludes the remedy comparison and extraction tutorial, and I'll look forward to joining you again on the next tutorial.